everyone. It is our favorite time of the week because we get to answer your questions. You told us what's on your mind this week. It was a spicy one. Saagar, what have we got
All right, first question. This is from Aubrey. She says, or maybe he says, do you think the lower polling candidates will drop after Iowa if they don't do well, or do you think they're going to try and stay until at least Super Tuesday?
I think you're going to have a number who, after Iowa and New Hampshire
in particular, actually,
are going to hang it up.
So
that's my guess.
Jeb Bush dropped out of South Carolina, and I always kind of saw that as like, you know, when you have a lot of money, but after the third or fourth primary state, that's when things start to get real. I think South Carolina is actually going to be the main tipping point. That's where you would see.
Well, I mean, if you think about Pete.
Right.
There's no reason for Pete to go to South Carolina
Actually,
if he doesn't do well in Iowa or New Hampshire.
It would be very embarrassing if he did compete, and we even saw the vote totals there. But, you know, Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar, those type of people, I do think they're going to be able to drop off. But you guys need to remember is that Michael Bloomberg and Tom Steyer have no incentive to drop out. They have no market pressure. So even though lower polling candidates who don't have access to billions of dollars may drop, doesn't mean that the field is going to get all that smaller.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. So I guess the answer is it depends on the candidate. Bloomberg's not even competing in the first two states. He's
going
whole
all
play.
In on Florida, Super Tuesday, Texas. Yeah.
Steyer is going in on the early states, but yeah, neither one of them really has an incentive to get out. I think Bloomberg's play may actually be to gather some delegates and try to be that deal maker and hold that power at the convention. So he's certainly not going away. But yeah, Pete, Amy, I think would probably be done if they don't do well in Iowa and New Hampshire is my guess. All right, number 2. We like this one. What are the challenges of writing a book at a time when short-form digital media is so dominant? And in case you guys didn't know, Saagar and I wrote a book.
That's right.
It's going to be published on February 8th. It's called The Populist Guide to 2020. You should get it. Sign up at rising.substack.com to get information about how to pre-order and other details about the book and the book events, etc. And yes, we did pick this question as a shameless ability to do a shameless plug.
We deserve it.
But it's also an interesting question because we thought a lot about this. I think we went about the book in a little bit of a different way than the traditional. We started writing this in November and turned it around very quickly, working with Strong Arm Press, which Ryan Grimm's publishing imprint, and he was great to work with in terms of just getting this turned around quickly so that the content can stream right into the bloodstream of American politics at a critical time.
The challenges of writing a book in the digital age is that I think people underestimate a yearning for a book, but they also kind of want the new format. And I think that's something that we kind of fused the power of the internet, and really like what the work that we've done here and kind of our observations into something that which is consumable in the old. So it's like, I mean, it's really what the show is all about. It's about, you know, taking the traditional format and bringing in new politics. I think that's what we did with the book format. That's part of why I'm so proud of it. That's part of why I really love it.
I have to say, I'm going to make a counter argument, which is I actually think the book has made a bit of a resurgence in the Trump era because with things so chaotic and feeling like we're on the cusp of something new and different, maybe scary, maybe good, people have been reaching out into books to learn history, to learn new frames of how to think about this, to compare what's happening here with other countries overseas. So I actually think that this has been a time when people have been gravitating more and more towards books to get that sort of deeper perspective on what's happening in our country.
I mean, I certainly have.
You've always been a book guy, though.
That's true.
What
Number 3, from Samad. Why is it impossible to get a progressive moderator for Dem debates? We're part of the party, I think. I think this one's for you, Krystal.
I feel you. I feel you. Watching that debate this week was so painful because, I mean, even putting the Bernie Warren thing aside, which we've certainly discussed here quite a lot, every question was framed from this right-wing industry. I mean, not even right-wing, like corporate industry perspective. And so it's not even, and this is part of it's not even like so much of a left-right thing. It's just such a corporate industry approved approach. And the reality is they're never going to let someone like me or you moderate one of these debates. Number one, because they like to maintain their faux pretend objectivity, which obviously is a total farce and a lie, etc. But also this is part of how you maintain like a narrow discourse that benefits the state status quo. When you start to introduce other ideas or framing things in a different way, when you start saying, well, Pete Buttigieg, if every other developed nation in this country, in this world has single-payer healthcare, why do you think it's so impossible here? Once you start getting those ideas into the bloodstream, it can be very problematic.
So what are you getting at? Which is that they control what we hear, they control what we see, and they control what the shape of the debate looks like. There's nothing more powerful
range of discourse.
There's nothing more powerful in America than that. And so, I mean, what Samad, first of all, I feel you, man. This is what it's like to be on the right all the time, is you never get a fair shake. Go back and watch some of those Republican debates. But I do think that it just highlights about the media and the way that they think matters so much, and that in terms of lobbying on behalf of corporations and moneyed interests, that it is worth hundreds of billions of dollars for their ability to control our politics, and nobody thinks that way.
Nothing says it better than when you're watching a debate that's supposed to be a free exchange of ideas, and then you go to commercial break and see some like health industry smear of Medicare for all to remind you this thing is not a free and fair exchange of ideas. There's very much hand on the lever on one side of this equation.
Right.
Thank you all so much for submitting your questions. We always appreciate it. And we'll see you back here soon.
And make sure you guys send us more questions. #RisingQs, all social platforms, all the time of the week, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. We'll be here every Sunday to answer them.
Give us more excuses to shamelessly plug our stuff. We always appreciate that. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.